Belisarius, Gladius Roma imperis unis nostro imperium, et florama per Roma Deo florebis, divis Romanus et sine imperiosum, sanguine barbarorum renare Roma, forti Italia et lacrimis goticis.
Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video on Conqueror's Blade as we revisit a bit of a classic unit, the Zykalian Militia, or the Coconut Throwers, or an assorted other sort of names that everyone seems to call them. Kind of an interesting unit, been around since, what, Season 5 I think now, and a unit that I find so frustrating to play against. They're just so annoying when you're just getting a unit set up, starting to make a push, and then you see the little grenades coming over the top, and before you know it, absolutely everyone and their mum is on fire. Really annoying. So I thought, if you can't beat them, join them. If they're making my life miserable, let's use them and make everyone else as miserable as I am against them. And they're kind of a unit that, whenever we start a new season and we get this tier 3 unit lock, you see them absolutely everywhere. But a lot of the time, they kind of tend to fade away a little bit by the time we get onto the tier 5 stuff, but I really don't think there's a need for that. They're only 175 leadership, and they can actually be seriously still very effective against tier 4 and tier 5 units as well. So I thought we'd take them out and have a little bit of fun with them. Just very quickly, because we've covered this unit a few times, but not so much on the veterancy line for a while, I'm still going down along the top line, basically for the increased burn duration. Along the bottom line, you get slightly longer range, and you do get slightly higher base blunt damage, but really for me, you're trying to get that burn and that longer duration burn, so kind of for me, that's what the unit is about. There is obviously only 12 of them in a unit, and they're super fragile. They have no defensive stats, and they don't have much health either. They obviously only have one sort of damage, which is blunt damage. They have no melee ability at all, so once an enemy hero unit, even a pike militia or a martellatory gets amongst them, they're pretty much dead. So yeah, you have got to try and keep them safe. In terms of doctrines, we've just got base blunt damage increase. I would quite like, I'm actually slightly tempted, I've probably got one to put use one of my doctrine chests to get a higher epic blunt damage doctrine, because that really increases their base damage. You saw the base damage is basically 375, they have 300 base blunt damage, but honestly putting that up with this doctrine here. I'm also wondering if my damage doctrine could go on these guys. That might make them a little bit stronger. Damage to units, increase health just to give some vague attempt at keeping them alive. Again, not using this for the blunt defense, but for the 400 hit points to try and keep them something alive. And then the extra damage, the extra ammo, sorry, that they get with the Zykalian doctrine, which comes with them on the seasonal challenges. Anyway, that's enough about them. Let's just hop into some battles with them and kind of see how we've been getting on, see who we've been burning before we get ourselves killed. So we kick things off on Reginopolis. Now, it's safe to say I'm not necessarily the best player with these guys. Some players can absolutely dominate. But for my 2 cents, particularly at tier 5, I tend to play them pretty aggressively. Yes, you'll take some casualties, they're a fragile unit, they'll get killed, but it's about how many can you take with you on the way. So here on Reggie, pushing through the B wall, I'm just pushing the unit up. We are taking ranged fire, pull them back a little bit into the clump just to try and give them some protection, but I'm not trying to preserve this unit to the end of the game. I'm just trying to get those hits in, and look how much damage we're picking up now against, these are tier 5 and equivalent units, against high tier stuff, and we're only tier 3, and we're burning them all. And it's not only the kills that you're getting, but you're inflicting a huge amount of just base AoE damage, so that when the rest of the team engages, the stuff they're engaging is at half health, but also it sets models on fire, sets enemy units on fire, and then they actually stop fighting and they, well, stand there busy being on fire. We even get a Maul who basically suicides down to try and kill the unit. And it works. Okay, they're dead. But we got, what, 50 kills in the meantime? On tier 5 stuff with the tier 3 unit. No other tier 3 unit can really be that effective as these guys give me. And that's where they really sort of come into their own dominance, in my opinion. You don't always end up doing so well. Sometimes you end up getting caught out, particularly by heroes, and killed really early on. I mean, I know as a hero myself, I definitely hunt these guys down. Anyway, onwards, second clip, a little bit of Sun City. Basically trying to push on to the final point now. Got A, B and C, so it's kind of towards the end of the game. Initially thinking about coming up on here onto this little platform and trying to do sort of a really long range lob to the back of the map. Actually see some Fortebraccios down below, so go for them. This highlights one of the weaknesses of this unit. As I hit that and pull back, as any Scorpio fires at the back, manages to clip the back 3 units just. But one Scorpio hit, they are dead. So that's what, like a quarter of the unit dead already? It did burn some of those Fortebraccios to death, so it's probably a worthwhile trade, but kind of highlights how fragile this unit will be. Get a nice Scorpio shot in the middle, anything like that, the whole unit will be dead remarkably quickly. Anyway, start to make our push up onto the point. Again, you know, trying to use the unit relatively aggressively. I mean, they haven't got a particularly long amount of range, so inevitably we'll end up doing. But as we push around, you see we've got the grape shot and some range in that corner. Go for a bit of a lob over there. Handily, someone brings their javelins over to basically where I'm throwing the grenade, so that lands in quite nicely. Yeah, not a huge numbers of kills, at least initially, because a lot of the people are still just burning. But that second throw, that's when you start to pick up more kills. But more than that, again, you're just putting that damage in, disrupting the enemy formations, causing them to burn to death. And as we can then send the unit back over to the supply point to kind of resupply, really, for round 2. But yeah, kind of effective in terms of how much damage you can do. You can see the flames, obviously we've got the support, also really effective, but their tier 5 so much more leadership cost. Finally, end up in a little bit of Linwu Fortress, trying to use them basically on the top platform, on the A point, throwing down, you know, onto the entranceway into the gate. We've actually got a second set here, go for the really long range lob, which may be quite effective. Don't know what they managed to hit with that. So I was kind of waiting to see them move up. They're going to have to push through this entranceway. And there we go, there they do, and there goes our lob in. Went a little bit too far, but actually hit a chunk of the stuff. And again, you don't have to be getting kills necessarily here to be doing well. If everything that comes through this gateway ends up on half health by the time it engages our allies blocking up the other end, then that is a well worthwhile thing to be doing. As they push through there, they actually push up to this end little entranceway, which is perfect for us. Enables us just to sit there and get the throws in. But, the Trebs. Brutal. Lose the vast majority of the unit to the Trebs. Evo just was not paying attention that day. But still, even with only a fraction of the unit left, they can actually still be quite effective. We can still get in, we can still pick up some extra unit kills. We'll even get a little hero kill here shortly as they, an enemy hero we obviously managed to set on fire. There we go, and eventually burns to death. Not necessarily the greatest play, but still, even when you don't do particularly well, the unit can still be kind of effective. So for a tier 3 unit, I just think these guys are well worth having. You'll end up seeing loads of them when we go into the next season, and presumably we have the same sort of tier 3 lock. They end up kind of being absolutely everywhere. But they are still effective at tier 4 and tier 5. You often see some much more veteran players using them because they're such an effective unit, quite a meta unit for the cost. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you all on the next one.